Hello, hello. Um, I am really just kind of getting back from things. I have a tendency for my work to do a decent amount of travel. And last time I came back for the weekend, recorded a bunch of videos and kind of scheduled them to release. And now it's the next weekend. So I'm going to make a couple more, try and cover some other areas that maybe haven't been covered, but keep it to the storyline, mainly because I'm kind of having fun digging into the story. So let's bring up Obsidian and do a quick recap. Let's see, there's Obsidian. So recently we had unlocked an ankle bracelet on a new person we met named Ode Relic. We're going to meet with them later in an AI cafe. We don't really know much about them. We know they were drunk at the time. They were friendly, but they have information on Queen Artifact is who we're after. Queen Artifact is apparently working with the Democratic something. It's basically a group that is an elite group of people. They really hate poor people. I wouldn't say necessarily homeless, but just anywhere that's just poor to homeless probably. And we basically learned that they have some kind of plot or plan to introduce something to eradicate them. So probably going to kill them in some way, shape, or form. I imagine it's going to look like an accident or bad luck or something. And we just so happen to have relayed through one of those political websites, a propaganda website, when we were, mapping our route out. And so, we'll probably go visit that. But first, we'll probably visit Ode to see, what she's up to, get a little bit more information about her character. She is an NPC. And and also I think one of the things we haven't done yet that I want to do is my character is an anarchist for one, so they swear these vows, and we'll handle that to do in a second. But they're also a kernel developer. I'll make this a little bit bigger. A kernel developer, and when there's like only 3 paths where you can actually make your own artifacts, and artifacts are these special abilities in the virtual world. These are typically like viruses or something of that nature. For a kernel developer, it lets you bend sort of reality. So I have an idea of like what I want to try and build for my character to kind of help them fight Queen Artifact. And some of the things I did just before then, I was kind of thinking through, where I last played at, and I did not add the 2 momentum for the Rattleman, because I made progress on thwarting Queen Artifact's plans, because we learned a bit about who she's working with, about this group, the Democratic group. And so one of my perks for that is whenever I make progress, I get 2 momentum. So I need to go ahead and do that. I'm already in character. Momentum. Oh, so we had reset it recently. Oh, I remember now. We reset the momentum because I used it. I think I burned it to become or start a connection quest with Ode Relic. I also created an NPC folder now. And so we have those. So here's Ode's. And it's basically just some pictures that we've used in the credit side and some notes on them. And Queen Artifact, I did put in a to-do that I want to update her sheet. Kind of say what's going on here. And so I'll fill that in real quick. Okay, so I just put in there that she's working with Democratic Front. That's the name of the group. And most likely supplying some kind of evil artifact to help them with their agenda. And if you remember right, there was a scene in the very first session where Queen Artifact was having an exchange of a laptop, stolen laptop that had some kind of tech on it, which may or may not be related to this particular thing, but that's something else that happened. And then for factions, I went ahead and said they're a hate group. They're looking to eradicate the poor. So I just kind of made some extra notes and put them so they weren't like in the log, but more on the actual character. I need to make sure my momentum actually went to the right place. I went to Sephora, yeah. Sometimes it doesn't update over here for some reason. So it still says 3, but it's 4. So that's what it needs to be. All right, great. So I think what I want to do, we have a pretty large graph node map now, which is cool. I actually like seeing it really getting larger like this. I could like just, automatically go to the Hacker Halfway House since I have a thing to it and hang out there to do this development. I want to make an artifact, but I think being a kernel developer, I think digital overflow here they would do that at their house. They're just going to get some morning coffee. They're going to try and knock out some code before we go ahead and meet up with Ode. Social interactions could be a bit much, I think, for our characters. So, they want to get a win in before they head out for the day. So let's go ahead and find the move. So artifacts are a special section. Okay, so you have basically three things you can do with artifacts. You can develop them, you can utilize them, and you can reverse engineer them. And so you can just run into an artifact, but there are certain paths that can also develop an artifact. We happen to be one of those paths. So we're going to try and make our own artifact, else you'd have to buy it from the dark web. And then typically you have to utilize an artifact if it's something you didn't make, or if it just makes sense to utilize it. It needs like a skill rating or something to use it, then you would use it. And reverse engineering is a little more if you found somebody's or tooling how to use it or what it does, then you would use that one. So those are the three different types of moves that are pretty unique to Fey runners. For developing an artifact, it says when you develop a virus bot AI tool for special capabilities and you have a path or special circumstance that allows you to create an artifact, envision that special ability the artifact will have and roll on wits. Okay. So I was thinking a little bit about this. I think one of the tools that I want to make that I think might help against Queen Artifact is she's got this really large sword, has this little heart emblem on it, and it's while she can wield it around pretty light, it'd be kind of cool if we made that harder for her to swing it so easily at us. And so I'm thinking of a device, maybe like a little circular device that maybe you wear on your hip, that if you press it, it basically increases gravity, the strength of gravity within a distance, maybe let's say 100 meters from you. And anything in that, it just gets heavy. And so walking's hard, swinging weapons would be hard. Aiming, not too much. I think it wouldn't be great against ranged weapons, but definitely melee. And yourself is not affected by it, and anybody touching you is not affected by it. So if you're in a grapple situation, they're no longer heavy. If you walk outside the sphere of influence, you immediately go back to normal as well. And I don't think it goes through walls. I think it kind of hits these, if you're in a room, it's just that room. If you're in an open space, that's when you get to a sphere of 100 meters or something. All right, that makes sense. Okay, so that's what we're trying to build, and then we need a roll on it. So can I do this? Oh, so I don't have a plus wits here. I probably have to fix my JSON for that. So I believe what I can do is I can go to here. This is just our log. Before I get too far ahead of myself, we did this. Meet up. Okay, we haven't done the AI cafe part yet. The fair what cafe we're going to. I think we can come back to that. That's fine. Yeah, I think I'm not going to do the begin a session thing. Maybe some other time I'll do a flashback or something. And so we're not going to take the extra 2 momentum with that. We'll use it from our path instead. I think that's fine. Okay, so now we're here. Let's just go ahead and roll against wits. There is a generic roll, make a move. I don't think I can do it this way. Let's not make a move. It is make an action roll, and then I can pick wits. No bonuses. There's nothing special here. Okay, so so I failed. These are unfortunately really high dice on that end. So with that, that's a miss. I'm unable to create the artifact. I must envision a suffer move or pay the price. Oh, look, I have the wits option now. Interesting. Must have been a little. Oh, it's probably because what screen I was on. I see. Okay, cool. Okay, so blah, not great. So let's see what the suffer move is going to be. Oh, actually, since I've been disconnected, I should reset my supply as well. Because I'm going to make that my suffer move, I think. So that would have been a 5. I'm going to go ahead and make it a 4. I think because of the refresh, I'll do it through the screen itself. What am I looking for? Supply. All right, so that needs to be a 4 instead of a 5. So that would have recovered. I think I'm gonna leave my spirit down. I think I'm still frazzled. I'll have to actually do some kind of move, too helpful for my spirit, I think, to fix that. See a shrink, something of that nature. But I think everything else has been part of the upkeep is fine. So we're going to use some more power. And, I think just maybe try again. I like to kind of demonstrate this a little bit. So with any luck, I'll be able to demonstrate how to create an artifact. Let's try on wits. Here we go. The only difference here should just say what I'm using. Develop an artifact, weak hit. Cool, this will work. So on a weak hit, you create what you're after, but it has a limited use lifespan or an obvious weakness or flaw. Give your artifact a name. Okay. Let's think about what the limitation or flaw is. So I think because of my skill, my character's skill to develop, for a current developer, it's a one-time use artifact already. So it already has a limit of use. So I think the limitation, I think, is going to be that it's really, really close range. So originally I wanted it to be a whole room or 100 meters, and I don't think that's the case. It is really just like right in front of you. So the person has to be like basically within, well, I'd say basically striking distance. It's a little bit weird because she has such a long sword. If I want to include striking distance to be the sword, but I guess maybe to make sense with the story, sure. So basically her sword distance, but if she steps even just a bit back to prepare, she'll be fine. But when she's striking, she's going to have to adjust for it. And as far as a one-time use goes, I think that would be for the battle. I think it uses up a bunch of power, and during that combat, by the time combat finishes, the thing's just done. And so it's not like you press it once and there's one action. I think it will just be a minus on strike rolls. Let me think how we have to do this because they don't really attack us. I think it makes sense that it really only affects my strike and clash moves. It just gives me a +1 during that combat for only close range strike and clash situations. And I gotta give it a name. Let's just call this the drop. And so when I activate the drop is when this happens, and it works for one time. So I'm gonna go ahead and document that under the character if I can. Let's see, there's a spot for this. Yeah. Okay. So we call it the drop. Just made a note of it. It's a one-time use artifact, lasts the duration of fight. Circle device typically worn on a belt or attached to a strap. Create a barrier of intense gravity when within physical striking range. Provides +1 iron for strike and clash moves when in close range. And after use, the battery dies and the lights dim on it and it just becomes like a dead, unusable puck. All right, I think that captures it. All right, so that's how you make an artifact. And then I think it's pretty obvious how you'd use it when you decide to use it. You just press the button on it, and this is what you'd get. I made it so it goes onto a belt or a backpack or something. I think I'll just do a belt for now, but I like the idea of maybe putting it on a backpack later. All right, so we'll just attach it to our belt. We're not going to power it up. I think when it powers up, it has this like lights, like a big button, and it has this like big glowing light on it when it's like in a standby mode, like an armed mode, and then you hit the button and it activates. So that's what this looks like. All right, so I think at this point we should go ahead and go meet up with Ode, see what's going on with her. If I remember right in our to-do, it said we don't have the name of the place or anything yet. Yeah, we need to meet up at the AI Cafe, mark it on a map, and give it a name and see what's up. So, I mean, this could really be anywhere. An AI Cafe seems pretty basic. I think this is probably in core. Just your regular kind of area here. So let's pick it off of like, I don't know, we'll get there off of maybe this router. Oops, didn't actually mean to click on the router. Actually, I guess I did because I want to add it as a link. And I could roll for a name, but I think I'll just come up with something. I think I'll call it the Wayward Spoon. Something like that, something silly. Wayward Spoon. I probably should have actually passed this to an actual real world AI of the modern day to figure out a name for itself. But all right, and so this is just going to be like a not really a coffee shop because nobody is really eating or drinking for real life here, but there's probably, avatar like coffee things you could pick up for talking, but it's really just a social meeting place where there's like activity, a lot of little booths, like a diner. And yeah, you have like little chat bots that come over to you, and they can either help you look up things or they can help you in a dispute. Maybe you and this other person you're with, you're having a fight, and they can help mediate it. And that's kind of the point, is you just have this extra utility that comes to your booth and hangs out with you if you want it there. Else you're just going to, talk to each other, meet up, whatever. And so I think that's where we're at. And so we show up and we see the scene, and you see this old diner like cosmetic with these almost Rosie the Robot looking bots moving from table to table. It's pretty busy. A lot of people sitting chatting. There's a lot of noise from just conversations. There's also a lot of environmental background sounds of a kitchen and whatnot. It kind of gives you that feel that you are in a kind of interesting kind of cafe, because there's this big juxtaposition where you have like this, from the Jetsons kind of robot, and almost an old school, what they pictured modern stuff to look like, and in an old diner, but everything still has like this very modern feel. And we kind of scan the room, and then pretty quickly we see O'Day Relic on the side, and she kind of waves us over pretty enthusiastically. Just you kind of see her kind of like waving, and you're like, oh, she's up early. And a little bit surprised, we go over to her, and she's got some glasses on, look like, she might have had a longer night than normal, and is toying around with her laptop. And I think at this point we're going to figure out more about who she is. We didn't really dig into any of that. And, let's figure out like what her, everybody has like a goal or something they're trying to achieve. So let's dig into that, and we'll learn a bit more about her this way. And so we sit down, start having a conversation with her, say, thanks for the info last time we met. I hope you're getting around good. Motion to the, ankle bracelet. She smiles, and you kind of say like, so, what is it that you do normally? And for that, I think we would roll on rolls. I'm going to put it in the wayward spoon, I think, for now. Actually, let me pause this real quick and just fill in some of the detail before I forget. Okay, boom, we got that. I also fixed the spelling of wayward. And then I think we'll do the roll in, I think under her character here. So let's roll up. What do we say? Oh, we asked her, like, what does she do? So that would be a roll, her character roll. She is a developer. All right, cool. We are also a developer. Doesn't mean she's a kernel developer, but she's a programmer of sorts, and so that's cool. And we kind of, ask her what she's been up to, and she tells us that we're going to roll on goals. Oh, so it's going to roll twice. Oh, gosh. So 95. That was a roll twice. I don't know what the two rolls are. Well, this one's obviously 50. And so let's see what 50 is in the chart. 50 is protect a secret. And then she had another goal. I think I'm just going to roll it on screen. I think that makes some sense. So let's just see here. Wow, I rolled 50 twice. I mean, we could interpret this as protecting a really big secret, but I think we need a little more hints. Let's go with maybe 61, see what that looks like. Or maybe we'll go with the first one. 61, resolve a dispute. All right, so we technically rolled protect a secret twice, and then I threw an extra resolve a dispute in there. I think, let's think a bit about if we can tie in maybe dispute to a secret, but really make the secret strong because we had this kind of like double roll on it. I don't think it's the fact that she drinks. That's not a secret. I think let's roll in themes too, just give us a little extra help. Nothing's popping right into my mind off the bat, so this might spark something. It could also be on, well, actually, maybe not theme. What are the other cores? Not those cores, these. Focus. Focus may make more sense. Yeah, let's see what focus is instead. What do we get? A 55, monument or intelligence? What kind of monument? I'll go ahead and put it in here. Okay, I am going to roll theme, but this is for the monument itself. Monument of discovery, I think. Okay, I think we can work with this. I think I'm going to interpret this not as a monument, as a physical monument, but more as a monumental discovery. So as a developer, she's working on this recent contract, and throughout her course of development and kind of doing research for whatever she's developing, she has found this discovery about disputing factions. And so we don't have a whole lot of factions. I didn't do the thing where we came up with factions in the very beginning of the campaign. And so I think what we'll do is we'll roll up some factions, and we'll roll up 2, and we'll say they're already in a dispute. And let's just see what they are. Let's see here. So to do that, we'll go to faction oracles. We'll do a faction type, see what the 2 types are. First one is a corporate faction. Great. And then let's fill out the whole corporate faction thing. Figure out like what they're doing. We would probably know what could be on a rumor or a project. Let's figure out what kind of corporate faction they are. 29, okay, environmentalism. And let's see, let's see what their influence is next. This will be like how big they are. They're an isolated. All right, so we have this isolated corporate faction. Write that down. Okay. So that's one group, and they are in dispute, most likely, with the other group, which is of what? Another corporate faction. And that one is of what type? Also an environmental group. Okay, so 2 environmental groups. Okay, this kind of makes some sense why they might be fighting. They obviously have most likely have 2 ways of solving a problem. They don't agree with each other's. And maybe they're fighting over a certain project or something of that nature. Let's see how big this other group is. So they're established. Okay. All right, so I kind of feel this is also both in the corporate sector. So this isn't like political idealized groups, but people trying to typically make money with the environment. So this focus on the environment could even be that they're hurting the environment. So let's think about these 2 a bit and how they might be in conflict, and then what Ode may know about the situation. Let's use a rumor about the established group to help drive this. So preparing for a major offensive operation, or they hold a powerful artifact. I tend to go more with the first one, simply because that's what the role is, and then just kind of make it work into the play. I typically like doing that better unless it just doesn't fit. And so I think I'm going to go with the first one, even though I don't know what that means yet. But I think it still can make sense for a conflict. Okay, this established bigger environmental corporation is about to launch a new product. And it's a big one. They've been doing a big marketing campaign for it. And they say it's going to revolutionize. I don't know what yet. I haven't thought about what that is. However, it's mainly a lie, and they are mainly doing this for financial reasons. They've gotten to the point that, when they first started out, they had good intentions, but at this stage, they are more politically involved with things, and this will actually be a huge detriment. And Ode was doing some work and was working a bit with this smaller company. and building out some things for them, and kind of came across this problem and that they're dealing with. And so are trying to stop it. They do have a competing product, but theirs actually does do what it says without hurting the environment in the same way that the bigger company does. Product. Okay. I think. All right. I think I have something. So, this bigger company, they make a type of like self-driving car, and they started out making these meat space, real world self-driving cars that kind of take people around. They're electric. Ideas they're going to save a bunch of people because they have like all these safety controls and things of that nature. But when working with this other smaller competing company who's also trying to make a self-driving public use vehicle, they discovered that the bigger company's self-driving vehicle isn't actually self-driving. Instead, they are remotely drone controlled, and they are operated by a bunch of younger people from a third world country that they pay them almost nothing to drive the cars around. So therefore, the safety and whatnot is not actually real. There's what's happening is these younger kids are put in a situation where they're staring at a bunch of monitors that are all the different views of this car that is pretending to be self-driving and pretending to have safety features, but in reality it's just an underpaid child in a third world country operating the vehicle. And this smaller company is actually working on a real self-driving vehicle that actually has proper safety and security and controls in it. However, they're not as well financed and whatnot, and they discovered the secret when they were, maybe digging into their competitor. Maybe they found out something from somebody, leaked some information about it. But through Ode Relic's kind of digging, she does hang out in the Hacker Halfway House, so could have even heard from there how this company is really operating. And she wants to bring it to light. And so she needs evidence that she can then expose to take out this bigger company. Yeah, no, that sounds like that sounds good. I like this. This went well. So let me document this real quick. Okay, so I know everything just jumped because I cleaned it up a bit. So I moved the two companies to their own faction, and I gave them a name. And I just went ahead and rolled on the corporate names table. It's this one here. And so it has a prefix and suffix on it. So you just kind of roll once on one side, once on the other. And that's where I came up with quantum robotics and Nexus Axiom. And I wrote down what we talked about here. And then under each one of these, the Nexus Axiom is the large company. And I just kind of cut and paste the roles from before. And, this is what the child labor stuff going on. And then the quantum robotics is the small company who just works in the public self-driving transportation space. And so I think with that, what we would do is we would want to go ahead and create a progress for exposing Nexus Axiom, which is more of a quest that Ode Relic, is on, but obviously we could help. And so I'm going to go ahead and mark it. And if we choose to go on it, we would swear a vow, and then we'll go help her out. But we probably will. So I'm going to go ahead and write down, we'll create a progress track. And this is expose Nexus Axioms practices. I think we'll be fine. Just a progress track. And the rank of this, probably dangerous. It's a pretty big company. Could be formidable. I think we'll start with dangerous, and if bad things happen, then we'll go ahead and bump it up. We're gonna go ahead and call it a vow already. All right, and then we can always choose just not to work on it. That's what this will be. So we hear about it. She's a connection. Early stages of a friend. But yeah, we can go kind of work towards that. Okay, at this stage, we could either go after Nexus Axiom or continue to go after the Queen. There's no time clock on the Queen, so I think it's fine to give it a minute. I do think we will. Let's go ahead and go after this Nexus one. At least get started on that. We have a pretty big map, so jumping from the corporate network to there, so it'll be easy. And then all we have to do, well, I say it is as if it's easy, but what we have to do is we have to go through, break into their network, explore it. I think some key points will be locating this child workforce, maybe getting the like evidence, being videos or documents about it. And then I think also part of this progress is we have to also do the exposure. We will broadcast it onto TVs or billboards or something of that nature. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Okay, so let's do this officially. We tell her at this cafe, like, oh, wow, that's pretty messed up. I got some spare cycles. I can see if I can go dig in and get this information for you. She's only a developer. She's not a hacker. So, we tend to, she is obviously a Fey runner as well. So she does do some hacking. But, she would be exposed. And so she needs somebody removed. We agree to do this to help her out. And so because we are agreeing to this, that is, I believe you go under develop a relationship. Because it would improve our standings with a person if you agree to do that. And that is under, what is that? I think that's connections. Yeah. When you reinforce your relationship, swearing a vow to undertake perilous quests for their service. We haven't completed it, so we get to do it again if we're successful. But just swearing increases your progress. And so our progress is right here. So, this is our first time actually. So last time they just became on there, and now we've actually starting to strengthen a bond. It's not quite a bond yet. It's just a connection. When they get to the end, if you want to roll on it, you can make them a bond. Forging a bond is that piece, which is a little more great, and it adds to your legacies and things of that nature. All right, so we got that, and now we want to actually start our quest. And so this is a new quest. We got to swear a vow, and so we're going to swear a vow. We have to touch a piece of iron frame. I think in the real world, we put one hand on our equipment. On the sides, it's iron, but I think also to represent this in our diner scenario, we touch like the metal, to tell her that, we're making a true swearing that we're going to go after this. We already wrote the vow down. We roll on heart, which we're not good at, but we do get to take a +1 because we are being aided by our connection. She's already given us information and whatnot. So let's see how we do. +1. No other pluses. So just press enter. Okay. And where is the results? Down here. Where'd it go? Actually, did it put some? Oh, it put it up here. I see. All right, so this is the +1. Oh, but we totally missed. Even with the +1, even with their help, it's not a great start. I'm going to move this down somewhere. Hopefully, maybe not. Let's see. Let me cut this out of here, and then see if I can put it down the bottom. Okay, cool. That's better. Okay, so that's there. We failed. You must overcome a significant obstacle before we can begin our quest. Something stands in our way of starting. I think what's stand in our way logically is that we don't really we have our map and we have a decent amount of stuff in the corporate network here, but maybe none of these are actually connected in an easy way to is it Axiom? Is that what they're called? Axiom, Nexus Axiom. So I think we have to maybe forge a path. So we have to map a route to it, which we wouldn't normally have to do. And that is our difficulty we have to overcome. So for that, we'll have to go ahead and make another progress. Let's see here. This one's going to be an exploration track, and this is map to Nexus Axiom. And progress is fine. Did it say the level of danger? I think it said significant. So let's make it dangerous, I guess. That's just, so for whatever reason, it's hard to get to. This is an exploration quest, and we'll go ahead and create that. Okay. And yeah, let's map it out, starting with So I think what we'll do, where do we go? So this is our rig. So our first one is this blockchain. I think I'll come off this ISP router. We have the wayward spoon here anyway. Oh, I didn't move it. That's why it's that color. Wayward spoon's also in core. Where's core? Well, scroll up. So there it should be this color. I don't think we'd bounce off the wayward spoon, but I think we would maybe come off this router, and we'll go right into corporate. I think from this, we won't have to do my brain's failing me. Not connection. The infiltrate segment. I think we're fine because we've already kind of made a route, and so we had to do it once to get to here. There's no progress track for it, so I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to go from an ISP router to a new one. I guess if I wanted to, everything I could have done, as opposed to making it a dangerous map route, I would make it come from the rig straight out. Then we would have to do something like that as well. I think we're fine. I think making it dangerous and just jumping off would be just as good. So let's just do another one. And so for this, let's roll on, I think, well, we have to map her out first, I guess, and see if we're actually successful. All right, so we will do, there's no social engineering from the ISP, so we'll just do our typical spray and pray tactics for this and see how we do. All right, weak hit. That's fine. That's good. That basically just, if you recall, it's when you have a weak hit, you either like lose power or you run into somebody, something like that. But you do make your goal. I think we'll just lose power and we will get to whatever this is. I think I'll make the first one pretty random, and to do that, I think I'll use the miscellaneous charts from the quick map routing. So let me bring up that PDF, and then we'll just roll on screen. 7D. All right, so 7D is, where's that? Robotic greeter. Okay, so that's what we take over. Hide this. All right, so we get a robotic greeter. I don't know for what company, just say storefront robotic greeter. All right, cool. So we'll create that. With this, I'm gonna close some of these others that we're not in right now. We're in the corporate network, so put it in the corporate network. All right, so we get into that one. I did not take off power. Let me do that real quick. Power supply. Okay. And then back to the robotic greeter. Cool. All right, let's map another. Oh, we gotta move progress. Progress. All right. And let's map again. Oops, helps with the right thing. Map her out. Spray and pray. Well, yeah, that's be fine. I was just thinking we could make this related. Ooh, strong hit. Okay, now we're talking. Okay, so this one might be getting closer rated. So we get a strong hit on mapping her out. And so since we're using iron, we do automatic scan, we get a vulnerability, jump to the server. And then we just mark our progress, and then I get a bonus, my character does, because they have this high speed module. So whenever they get a strong hit, they get +1 momentum. So that's awesome. We'll bring up the momentum one. We'll update our progress. And almost halfway there. And then this thing, I think at this stage, I'm going to start to be a little bit more specific, or give myself a little more creative freedom. And so to do that, we will use the this miscellaneous node system instead, which is really generic. So a media device, I think that makes sense. And so, I don't know what kind of media device this is, though. If that makes sense. Let's see what the theme comes up with. Maybe it'd be better to do something else. Fame. fame. Let's make it like an influencer's phone. So we got some influencer walking around live streaming right now, and they are getting closer to the area we need to be in. And so they are talking about, we basically see them on our threads, whenever we're scanning our social media networks, and we see that they have, they're mentioning Nexus Axiom and whatnot. So, they're about to go over and, tour the facility, and, we can kind of see some of the new cool cars following this individual. And so we pop onto their phone. They're just opened up to anybody anyway to get all their DMs open and whatnot. So we're going to jump onto the influencer's phone. If that makes sense. Influencer phone. Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. There's no penalty. We don't use up any power because we had a strong hit. So we're on the influencer's phone, and we move some progress. So we're getting a little bit closer. Not into the building yet. So let's see if we can find somewhere off of this phone that would be useful for us. Here we might be able to use our wits, though, because there's basically a situation where we're on a phone that this influencer's on. There's probably lots of communication going on. I think we might be able to social engineer our way a little bit closer. Let's see if we can actually go through some of her contact information, look at some of the people that are maybe in the group to see if anybody else here is also from Nexus Axiom. Maybe they're following her thread. Maybe they've given her some information recently, and we can use that to our advantage. So I'll use wits instead. Okay, that gives us a weak hit. So that's cool. I'll take it. Let's see with the 4 and the 6. Had I not used social engineering and I did a spray and pray, I would have actually had a 4, and so I would have actually missed. So it's a good thing with the social engineering route. So cool. Let's see. We were successful. I'm going to go ahead and do the basics first. So we're going to improve our ticks there. We have to suffer something. I think I'll just suffer supply. And now we can figure out what it is we found, which is the influencer. Oh, did I move it up yet? Wait, where are you, influencer? There you are. So which oracle should we roll and kind of get an idea of what we ran into? Maybe theme again. Let's just go for theme. I'm only going to do a miscellaneous node. I think I just want to do a theme. Dream or reputation? Okay, I think I'm going to go dream. Maybe reputation to kind of influence it a bit, but I think what's happening here is like the person that gave the influencer access is actually an employee, maybe from the marketing team, who's actually a follower of this influencer, really likes them, and kind of like is enthralled with the fact that they are coming to their work and going to be doing this thing, super excited. And we actually, not only do we learn this, we catch a glimpse of this other person who is like in the scene as they're live streaming. You can see them. You get a glimpse of the badge for Nexus on their lapel, and we go ahead and we scan their body, see if we can get access to like a badge system or anything. And we don't really get that, but we do get their phone. They are also on occasion putting out their phone, taking selfies and whatnot. So we're going to pivot from the influencer's phone to the marketing employee's phone. I think that's where this goes. So we will go with the Nexus marketing employee phone. That's where we're at now. Still in the corporate segment. Okay, cool. We're getting closer. I don't think we can breach in yet, and I am using the progress bar. It wouldn't actually be a segment breach, but I'm going to use it as success to did we get to an entry point to the building. All right, so I think we need to do one more move to get off of her phone to something a bit more corporate. We might be able to do more social engineering. Basically, in this case, it's like using the data to our advantage or tricking her, the employee, to go somewhere, which I think makes a little more sense. I think we should ding her phone, have a fake text message come up, uh, not one from the CEO asking for gift cards, but some other kind of trick of that nature. I think we'll tell her that this is her third and final warning to change her password, her company password, and if she doesn't do it, she'll be locked out of her phone, including the pictures and whatnot. And so she needs to go and log into her work account and change her password right now. So she gets a fake warning message from the company that we create. And so we're going to use social engineering on this one, our wits, and see if we can trick her into logging into her work computer right now. We get a weak hit. So she does do it, but there's some kind of cost to it. We could just obviously take power, but I think what happens is she goes to log in to her thing to change her password real quick, and she logs in, doesn't get a prompt to change her password. It's like, I can't deal with this right now. I have this influencer here. This is too much for me. She hands her phone to her assistant and says, take this to IT, like tell them like they can change my password. I don't have time for this. And no, she doesn't give them the phone. There'd be no reason for her to get the phone. She just tells them to go yell at IT. And so basically we'll set up a thing where they'll tell IT that you got this message. IT will probably be aware it's spam. And so it kind of puts us a little bit on the radar. And so if we start getting some bad rolls here, that I think that would be somebody that might trigger somebody coming after us. And so I think that's what this is. It's basically alerting. Well, it's not yet, but it's kind of putting something on the radar. At least something is up with the IT team. And she'll have to go in and do it. So we got some time. But this will give us the ability to go in and potentially do something. So with this, did I mark this yet? Oh gosh, no, I can't remember. Let me see. Let me go back and look real quick. No, I did not. I did not mark it yet. So we're going to mark it. So it puts a little bit of risk on us. We didn't jump to what this next thing is yet. So I think what would happen is we jump into just their employee portal page. So it's kind of like still on the fringes a bit. So let's go ahead and jot that down. That would be I wonder if there's a way of sorting this from like newest as opposed to alphabetical. That would be easier for me. I thought I called this, next is marketing. All right. So from here, we'll go to employee intranet portal. All right. So this is where we gain access, and that is in corporate. And we're not actually in their system yet, but this is going to be the jump off point. And so from here, we are going to attempt to map a route to get us into the actual system. So they were on the outside of the intranet page. This brought us to there. And now we need to find a weakness to it. Since it didn't prompt her for a password, we don't really know how to get in necessarily. Or we're going to try what we think is her password. I think that makes more sense. So we kind of saw her log in. So we're going to try that password. Hope they don't have like a multi-factor authentication or something like that that would prohibit us from just using that password. Since we tricked her in, I think this is probably still like social engineering. Well, not map route. Sorry, this would be gain entry. And so it could be social engineering for heart. I think in this case, so we only have a +1. Yeah, it's faking ID. I think it's heart. So I think we're gonna roll on heart. All right, so that's what we get here. Wait, just a second. So I could do this. It wouldn't really use our progress bar. I'm trying to think if I just rather, for fun, use this one to see if we're actually there yet. I think that makes some sense. And so I'm just going to roll our general 2 dice just to kind of see if this is going to work. And if the 2 dice are below our progress, this is something we can do, even attempt to do. We can't even attempt to gain entry if this doesn't work. If it's a failure, definitely can't. If it's a weak hit, I don't know. Maybe we can attempt it, but we have a -1. Let's just try that. And so our 2 dice are a 1 and a 7. So those are above. We're at an 8 now, so that's a strong hit. So we can definitely try and break in from here. And so that's how we're using this one. And so we can try to break in. We still have to run the gain entry stat now. And so let's do that. That would be off of the intranet, which is here. All right, so we're going to try and gain entry. And since we are, we're not, this isn't our best skill, but we try to trick them, and we'll see if we can. We don't have any additional thing, at least no minuses. So let's see what happens. Ooh, perfect. All right, so strong hit. They did not have MFA. The password she used to log in the site to see if she needed to change her password was exactly what we needed. And now we are inside of the network, which is great. Is there anything else we need to worry about? Strong hit. Okay, now we just create a progress bar for exploring the system. And that is it. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to close out map to this one. This one's now done. So how do we close these? Let me go to progress bar, complete. We're completing it, and map. That one's done. And now we need a new one, and we need it from the employee internet portal. And this would be, what would this be? This is, instead of the, let's just say the employee intranet, maybe. Let's call it the Nexus Axiom employee intranet, so the portal. I hope I'll be able to find it easier because I gave it that name. So this will be it, and we're going to create a progress track here. All right, and this is the Nexus Axiom network. And this is probably dangerous, at least. And this is going to be expiration track. All right, great. And let's see what kind of room. Oh, yeah, we could have done that. Nah. Oh, yeah, what kind of place? So Nexus Axiom is environmental. So I don't think I have a spot really for just an environmental place. It might be like science and research might be good for this car company. Trying to think if there's any other good matches for this. Infrastructure, not really. I think it's going to be science and research kind of facility. I think that's what we're going to be in. And so you just kind of want to pick that so you can get some of your other roles for feature and peril and opportunities are useful. I think we could do a feature for the intranet. We already know the area, but let's just kind of do a feature. Is this right? There's underground influence. Oh, interesting. So there is, so one of the things we learn when we first log in is that the Nexus Axiom, there is definitely some hints of some influence to this company from the underground or from some kind of nefarious group, I would say. And so, this could be part of the reason as to why they're going the route they're going and maybe why they're using these child labor. There could be some underground ties that are causing it. So we're kind of seeing hints of that already right off the bat once we log into their main intranet. And so from here, what you do, we switch kind of gears. We're not mapping nodes anymore. We're going to be exploring the system and working our way through the network to try and figure out where these, if we can locate the something that's useful to find out where these kids are and get images and whatnot from them. So our exploration moves from now on are exploring the system. So, oh wait, sorry, that's not the move, is it? Oh, it's not loading. Interesting. Huh. So when you're exploring the system, I have also the physical book here too. It's like when you delve into the system of a node you've gained entry to, you envision your surroundings using the system area oracle for inspiration if we need to, and then we navigate either with haste on edge, stealth or trickery with shadow, or with observation, intuition, and expertise with wits. And then we kind of roll to see like what we find and what we're digging into. And so I'm tempted to just restart Obsidian here, but I think I want to do at least one spot. I want to just get there. So I think what I'll do is I will so we're into the internet, don't really have a lot to go on. I think I will just start digging through using my expertise. So that's going to be wits, and let's do a roll here. Make an action roll with wits, and there's no bonuses, so we'll just see how we do. And so we got a 7, which beats a 3, but not a 9. So that's going to be a weak hit. And on a weak hit, we roll in the following table. And so we use wits, so we're going to roll again. And there's a table that I might be able to bring on screen. Well, let's see if I can find a screenshot of it. But I will at least read it out loud. Let's say 93, which you mark progress and you find an opportunity. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's mark progress onto the network. Let's find an opportunity. Now, opportunities are typically for your area. And so we are in the, where did I put it? Oh, do I have a log for it? I guess I can put it here actually. So we're in the internet. I guess I figure where I want to write it at, but I think maybe here makes sense. So we're in the internet. We're going to move through here. So our opportunity is going to be in the science and research area. And so here's our opportunity. Let's go ahead and roll for it. 39, identify a key researcher. Okay, cool. So and what kind of area are we in where we identify this key researcher? We are in a library. Okay, so that's pretty useful. So I think what's happening is we get in, we're using the internet, so we're like in our employee database section, and we go over to like the research area of the portal. And when we get there, we see there's a researcher looking stuff up, and we recognize him from, previous posts and things that when we were going through people's phones earlier that are related to this, that this is one of the people that get a lot of respect for building technology like self-driving and whatnot. So they don't see us yet, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to approach them and then see if we can talk to them and maybe get them on our side or see maybe what's going on. Now this is going to be risky. They could totally just flip out, fire off the alarms, and then we're going to have to deal with the situation there. So let's go ahead and we just say, oh, excuse me, and turns around shocked to see us there. We don't look like we blend in. We didn't try to make our appearance look like anything in particular. And so we don't look like a normal employee of the Nexus Axiom. And he's startled, but we're like alone in this research area and apologize. And what we're looking for is we've how do we want to word this actually? Because it kind of matters. I think, we tell them we know what's going on. Like we know that you're a brilliant researcher, but these are not self-driving cars. We know there's something behind this, and I want to know what you have to do with this, and will you and I need your help. I need you to help me right this wrong. And so it's basically kind of like kind of a forceful threat, I guess. And so we would have to make a move for compel. And so I compile real quick. And because we're threatening, that's going to be iron. And so, yeah, no pluses on this one. We will just roll. Oh, wow. Luckily, he scares easy. And he's totally good with it. So with a strong hit, they'll do what you want and agree to your conditions, take 1 momentum. This may be easier than I thought, but that's always my favorite last words. So, okay, so they're like, oh yeah, absolutely, this is crap. I've built an amazing system, and recently I've been overruled with using our technology, which could definitely like change the world. However, I've been told to stand down, and it's he basically decides the kind of like alludes to that, you know, it's outside of like his control, and maybe there are other powers at play here, which we've already kind of heard about or like picked up on anyway, from when we first got into the internet. So there is something else going on. They're a bigger company, you know, they had the right mindset from the get-go. They have good staff. However, there is some corruption that is happening, and luckily this researcher isn't about that. The researcher is about the science and about helping people, and is on our side, which is awesome. And with that, I think we're kind of at time, but I think the next step is going to be to see where he takes us, what's going to happen. You know, we might get lucky and get to some evidence early, but we will see on this one. I do think we can, when we come back, we will at least mark some progress on exposing it. This does seem like a good place to get progress from. And hopefully this video will at least help you see how to make an artifact, see how to deal with some complications with when you're running into like mapping situations and social situations where you're talking to NPCs and you don't really know what the conversation's about, and how to interpret the roles to see what we're talking about here. I was pretty sure I want to go on whatever quests O'Day Relic had. So, you know, I could have gone after the queen if I didn't like the quest. So I had kind of two options, but it's kind of how I went into it, but didn't know really the outcome. And so hopefully this will give you better insight as to how to kind of play some of these games if you haven't done it before, and how to interpret the roles. But yeah, thanks for sticking around and listening, and hope you enjoyed it. Bye now.